Hello everyone and welcome back to another math video. Today we're going to be talking about the volume of cubes and rectangular prisms in word problems. So similar to the problems you see up on the screen here. Just a reminder, this is the speedrun version where we go through it pretty quickly. If you want the normal version, I'll link that in the description below. For your Ricasso Recap, you should already know how to calculate the volume of rectangular prisms. If you want a refresher on this, there will be a video in the description below. Please go watch that before you start this lesson. All right, new lesson starts now. Here we go. So go ahead and pause the video, read this problem. Okay, now that you've read this problem, to find the volume of the whole crate, let's start by, well, first we got to start with a wonderful drawing. All right, bam. Oops, this is a wonderful drawing of a glove. Okay, so let's start with each box of gloves. Okay, so one box of gloves, let's find the volume of one box of gloves. So that would be 10 times 5 times 3. That would be 150. Okay, so one box has a volume of 150. And now the whole crate, right? The crate. Let's figure out how many boxes we can fit in the crate. Well, they tell you that it can fit 5 long, 5 wide, and 6 high. So the total amount of crates that we can fit would, well, it would also be 150. So now, this crate holds 150 boxes, and here's the volume of each box. And it wants to know what's the volume of the crate. Well, we just multiply 150 boxes with a volume of 150 each would give us 22,500, and this would be cubic inches. This is the volume of the entire crate. All right, go ahead and pause the video and read this one on your own. Okay, now that you've read this on your own, let's do a wonderful drawing. Okay, here's my wonderful drawing of a chocolate bar. Now, the problem asks you, how many chocolate bars can Bernie fit into the shipping box? Well, again, let's start with one chocolate bar, okay? One chocolate bar. So that would be 4 by 4 by 2. So one bar takes up 32 cubic inches. And then we know that the entire shipping box, let's do the volume of the entire shipping box. That would be 24 times 16 times 12, which would give us 4,608. 4,608. So this is the volume of the entire shipping box. This is the volume of one bar. And so to find how many chocolate bars we can fit in the shipping box, we just divide. We do 4,608 divided by the volume of each chocolate bar, which would give us 144 chocolate bars can fit in this shipping box. All right, last problem. Go ahead and read it. Pause the video, read it on your own. Okay, now that you've read this problem, let's do a wonderful drawing. Okay, so here's my, these are picture frames. I decided to do a wonderful drawing for y'all. It's a work of art. All right, so now let's talk about the frames first. Okay, so each frame they tell you is 25, 20, and 3. 25, 20, and 3, which gives us that each frame takes up 1,500 cubic centimeters. However, they tell you that there are 12 frames in the box, so we have to multiply this by 12, which gives us that all of the frames, all 12 of the frames, take up 18,000 cubic centimeters. And then the question, we need to know how much the volume of the entire box is. So that would be 30 by 25 by 25, which is 18,750. And it asks you, what's the volume of the extra space left over? So the frames, I'm going to put all 12 frames in. That will take up 18,000 out of the 18,750. So we subtract to see how much extra space there is, which is 750 cubic centimeters, and done. All right, here's our cool clock for today, which means that it's time for you to practice what you just learned. Go ahead and pause the video and try these 2 problems on your own. And when you're ready, you can unpause the video and we'll check your answers. Okay, now that you've had time to work these problems, let's check your solutions. Okay, for the first problem, here is my wonderful drawing of a train, toy train. Here is the work. Final answer should have been 90. And for the second problem, here is my wonderful drawing of a baseball. Here is the work. Final answer should have been 66,240. All right, that's it for today. I hope you all have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.